Hey, what's happening, Oval Nerds? We're in the Corvette at Spa. Last week at Daytona during our first one of these races, everyone was in the Corvette, and so I thought, okay, this week I'm going to drive it. Know that this is a little bit out of my element. I have very little experience in this car, and typically don't drive a lot of mid-engine cars. I typically like the front-engine cars. So, in this lap guide, you are like last week, not going to see blistering pace. It's going to be more about you know, learning the track, learning some of the techniques, some of the places where you can push, some of the places where you need to be really careful. So I'm going to do a couple of sighting laps here, just so you can sort of get the sense of where I'm putting the car. I think I want to do a different technique today than I did last week, where after a warm-up lap or two here, I'm going to do a standard lap, right? Narrating a standard lap, where we're focusing on sort of ideal lines, and that's sort of what I'm doing here actually during these sighting laps. And then we'll do a sort of a defensive lap, and then an aggressive lap, like if you're trying to overtake someone. Some of the good places and not so good places to do it. You know, we had quite a few folks crash in the back of the pack last week, and I'm sure a lot of that was because of overtaking technique just being different in oval and road. Now, one thing to keep in mind in GT3 that your oval skills will serve you well on. Oval racing is largely about tire management, right? It's not the guy who's fastest on the third lap; it's the guy who's fastest on the 40th lap, right? That tends to win a lot. And so, tire conservation in oval is tantamount to success. Same thing in GT3. In fact, very much so exaggerated in GT3. If you're hearing your tires a lot, then you are hurting them, and once they get heat, how do I say this? There's a heat cycle in the tires, and once you put excess heat into GT3 tires, they get murdered, and you will never be able to keep up with a similarly skilled driver if you have hurt your tires. Now, there are some places around here you can go all out. There are some places you cannot. I don't know which setup we're going to be using for this week's race. I'm on the medium, the iRacing medium setup. One thing to know that there are two corners on this track where the rear end on a low downforce setup will want to step out, and I'll call those out. Pouan and Blanchiment are the names. Now, this is a European track, of course, so some of the corner names are kind of wacky, so you just deal with it. I just went through La Source, very tight second gear hairpin. Don't need to go to first there. You might if you're right on someone's butt. You very well might. Cutting into Eau Rouge and Radion there. Notice that was fully flat out. When we talk about overtaking, that is a place you don't want to try it. This is the place you want to try it. This is called the Camel Straight. We're going into an area here called Le Combe. So braking into here, great passing opportunity. Here, okay passing opportunity if you've got really good position. Car gets really light right there, and if there's going to be gravel on the track, it'll be right here. It's pretty tight corners, downhill, pretty low grip. The car will feel loose there. It's all about setting up for this corner because pretty long straightaway. Going down here to Pouan, the first of the two corners where I say the rear end's going to want to step out on you, especially in low downforce or mid-engine cars. I find that the front-engine cars do a better job of handling Pouan. This area is called Campus. This is another quick right-left, and then I can't remember what this corner is called. I never can remember it. And then really important here, slight breathe of the throttle if necessary. A lot of gravel added when they did an update to this track recently. A lot of gravel was put where there used to be asphalt, and so you got to be a little tighter with your lines than you used to have to be if you've run around Spa in the past. This is another one of the get loose spots. It's called Blanchiment, and you want to get onto that rumble strip on the exit but not pass it. A lot of 1Xs there. Okay, so let's start calling out sort of turn-in points here. And of course, when we do our slowdown guide, we'll talk about specific braking markers and all that stuff in more detail. But What I'm looking for here is this compression, this elevation change right here. And I want to get all the way down to this wall. I want to get my right wheels on that. I want to get my right wheels on the apex corner, and then I want to get my left wheels just over, or at least on that curbing at the exit. Don't go beyond that. Here, all the way over, all the way over. Stay straight. Do not be tempted to go to the right, right? You need to, we'll talk about the sighting, which trees to look for, but you want to go straight over that. You got to be careful not to go too far left. Here, I'm going to brake right before the curb starts and get all the way over onto the screen. Car gets loose there. Then compromise that so that I can get all the way over there. That was not a great effort around there. We'll try to do better the next time. Careful with your downshifts. You don't want the differential to spin the car, or the transaxle, I guess, in this thing, right? Notice the apexes that I'm hitting. Notice how much time I'm off throttle in that area. That whole complex is just about setting up the run down to Pouhon here. You'll figure this one out. It's tough. It's about a 3 apex corner, and you've got to really figure it out through repetition to get fast around Pouhon. It is one of those areas where the men leave the boys behind during GT3 races. Woo! Rear end loosey-goosey. Notice the throttle inputs down on my lower left here. You'll see me coming off the throttle, back on the throttle quite a bit in corner turn-ins here. There's places where you think you can be full throttle, but it'll loop the car if you're not careful. This is also one of those tracks where it's really important to use all the track. Get all the way out to the outside. We'll look at where my tires are in a second here. But get all the way to the outside for turn in, and all the way to the inside when you're apexing. I mean, you need to use all the track. There are full seconds
Your lap
hiding,
time was at 2:21.88.
depending on a car
That's your
width
best lap in the session.
at corner turn in some places. All right, we'll do another sort of full speed lap. I'm going to do another lap where we'll sort of talk about defensive and offensive lines. All the way over, looking for the trees. Notice how I'm riding over that curbing at the top of Rouge and Rédillon. Again, here I'm going to brake right before the curbing so that I can get up onto the green, which sets me up to compromise this corner nicely. I don't want to go all the way out to the right because it's more important that I be here going over that green. Notice how I just gained like 2/10. Careful in your downshifts. Get inside, but you don't need to get on the curbing here, just to the inside. And then make sure you get this apex good, because you don't want to run wide here. Lots of gravel, very little grip. Follow this down, get all the way to the right, and dab of brakes down to 4th. And once you feel the car settle, that's a lot like an oval corner. Once you feel the car settle, that's when you can get back on it really good and just pretend that's a wall there at Dover, right? And sorry, talking too much. Pretend that's a wall at Dover, and you want to get right up to it. I'm trying to think if Dover's a good example. Maybe something like an intermediate might be a better example. Something like gosh, I don't know. Old Atlanta, Charlotte. You know, the kind where you're coming off turn 4 and you're just looking for that wall and thinking, I'm about to put my stickers on that wall. So, ooh, a little off the curbing there. Trying to take all that. I want to feel the rear end step out coming out of the chicane there. All right, let's talk about defensive lines.
That lap was at 2:21.59.
All right, so
Sector 3 times
I
okay.
said whenever you're coming in here on a hot lap, you want to be all the way over to the left, right? That's going to give you the sort of standard line to maximize the source. People are going to get runs on you coming out of chicane, so you want to be all the way over here defending this corner entry, but they're going to commit left, and you need to come over, give them a car width, right? Don't crash them, give them a car width, and then come in deep here, expecting to overcook a little bit, because they're going to overcook too. They're going to try to undercut you, but they're not going to get a run that way. So you want to get out to the left and then sweep back over and either be here to defend or here. Do not go into this side by side. If it looks like the other guy is going to commit, back off, right? Back off, stay on his bumper, pass him here. If you want to get freight trained and lose 5 positions, you should absolutely go side by side through Eau Rouge. Now, defensive line here, about mid-track. I have to brake earlier because now the corner's tighter. And I want to stay left here because he's probably on my right at this point. And then hopefully you've managed to maintain that corner. But that is an area where people go side by side all the time. It is also a bit of an accident central, so be aware of it. Okay. You shouldn't be defending here very much, right? It's pretty hard to go through all those corners side by side. Puan, if I'm defending, I'm here. Hopefully he backs out and I can come in, but no, just like all the other corners, if I'm side by side there, then I'm going to have to brake earlier, slow down more. Again, this is a fast corner, so the cost of that, what you're losing to the guys behind you, is more. Notice how I'm just off center. I'm off center outside of corner apex everywhere. Here I'm way off the curbing because the guy's on my inside, right? He was on my left going into that set of corners. He stayed on my left all the way around. Now I had the corner there. Because I was on the right, I was able to protect that apex. So if you can keep him, through campus, if you can keep him on your left, then you'll protect the corner going into this long straight and frustrate him. Up here's the #1 passing opportunity on the racetrack. He's going to want to sweep out right here, and so if you're defending, you're doing this, and you're braking way early. Nothing you can do about it. So you're both losing a lot of time, but he's not getting around you because of how slow this is, unless he gets a monster run out of here and you fail to defend going down into the source. Right? So if I'm attacking, I'm over here.
Sector 3 is 0.6 off your best.
Now you can attack from the right, but you're probably not gonna, because the source is just too tight a corner. So if I'm attacking, like I'm here, the guy's there, by now he's conceding, and I'm just hammer down. But I have to know that once I come over the top of Radeon here, right now, he's right there. He's got a monster slipstream, and I need to do something about it. So I'm probably way over here, forcing him to go left. Now, clean track, way out here, using all the track. All the way on the green. Again, compromise this corner. And then back out all the way. So attacking, oh, let's back that up. Let's back that up. We want to talk about attacking into these corners here. So if you've done Lecombe well, I just learned you can shift from reverse to neutral while driving. Okay, if you've been attacking through Lecombe, then let's see here. You'll find yourself, if you're doing it well, if you've managed to stick side by side with them, right? We talked about how the natural line, the line you want to take, the fastest line, is to not get all the way out to this curbing and get left so that you can maximize this next turn. If you're attacking, you don't have that luxury. If you're attacking, you're out here right now, right? Because you've got to give him that room. So you're going to come around here, and you'll be slow here, and you'll have to come out here because, again, he's still on your left. But now you've got the advantage coming down here. So attacking through that area is really like a 3-corner attack. It's not overtaking in 1 turn, it's overtaking in 3. By this point, you should have the advantage, and you hammer down. You might still be side by side though, so you have to give him this room. You're both going way slower right now, having to give each other room. The guy that was 2 seconds back is now 1 second back. Okay, now attacking into campus. You have to get a good run out of Puan first. So passing here happens there. So here I'm attacking, I'm on the right. Assuming I've been able to get to the right. All right, I'm way over, I'm way over, I'm way over. And I got around him. There we go. So you kind of see how you've got to find the fast line, and then you've got to find both sides of the not fast line, because you'll either be defending or attacking, and need to be able to run side by side, which means you need to practice several laps driving off the fast line. Don't worry about hot lapping. Worry about car placement, right? That's kind of a key thing here. Okay, I'm going to do one more hot lap, and then we'll slow it down, and we'll talk about corner by corner stuff. No, I'm not. So that just murdered my tires quite a bit. That little slide, that would have hurt my tires. All right, so again, I'm feeling compression. Boom, right there. Second gear, coming all the way down. That was a little bit wide. Get over to this curb. I'm not lifting the throttle at all until the end of the Kemmel straight. Abusing the curbing, abusing the curbing. If you're way out there, you done it wrong. If you're way inside, you didn't spot the right trees. And right before the curbs, onto the green.
You're 2/10 off your best in sector 1.
Careful, that's one of those, like at Daytona, that's one of those curbs back there when you turn back to the left that has a pretty big fall off on the left hand side. And if you get your wheels over that curb,
your fuel.
If you get over that curb, it bounces the car quite a bit and makes it really difficult to control. Little dab of brakes there. You'll use the brakes quite a bit, just little dabs. I'm not talking about for deceleration. I'm talking about for rotation. Your brakes, like there's a saying, I can't remember who said it. It might have been Jackie Stewart or something, that said, the worst drivers think that the brakes are for slowing the car down. And it's an interesting concept, right? Because in road racing, the brakes are simply there to position you to accelerate. That's all they're there to do. They are there to create the appropriate speed and angle to get off the corner. They are not for getting into the corner. If you can reorient your mind around that concept, you'll find your corner exit speeds start increasing and your lap time starts decreasing. Don't think of the brakes as getting into the corner. Never think about getting into the corner. Think about setting yourself up to get out of the corner, which is, again, if you think about the way you do oval racing, something that you will recognize. Watch for the white line across the track. Boom, right there. Braking directly after it. And then I'm trying to get, ooh, I missed it. I'm trying to get all the way over onto these rumble strips. Okay, let's talk about individual corners in the car, and then we'll look at it from outside. All right, so setting up the start of the lap, I want to be right here, either on the rumble strip or just barely to the right of it, depending on how your car feels, how you're feeling grip-wise. I want to be right here and sighting, see that sign up there, that pit entry sign? I want to be sort of sighting that as my moment of opening up the wheel, starting to open the wheel, so that I'm over here. I want to be straddling this rumble strip as I'm coming onto the straight, with my intent of getting all the way over to the left. And when I mean all the way over the left, guys, I'm talking about all the way to the left. You want to be, my left wheels right now should be on that white line. At this moment, I'm starting to feel compression. You'll notice that the 100 board is right about the compression, maybe a hair after. Remember, you're not talking about getting into the corner, you're thinking about getting out of the corner. So I'm going to brake just a hair before that 100 board because this is such a slow corner. And I'm going to go down, down, down. I'm probably up in about 4th or 5th gear there. And I'm going to come down. I'm going to turn in to where I am right into this green and rumble strip area because I'm looking for that little hut. See that hut right in front of me? That, I don't know, steward's hut or something? That's sort of what I'm looking at to open up the wheel and get all the way out here, and I'm flat on the throttle. How fast you're going there, if you're 5 kilometers an hour off there, then you're 5 kilometers off the other guy, way up there. Imagine all the lost time. Okay, ooh, you know what? Let's go back and look at that. Sorry, I got busy thinking about that. But think about that. Your corner exit speed at La Source, the hairpin, your corner exit speed there dictates your corner entry speed going into Lacombe all the way up there. Okay, so you've gotten a good run. You've gotten all the way over to the right, and I mean all the way to the right. You're brushing this wall. Don't hit it, but brush it. Looking at that white line. At this point, so you see the 3 white billboards off up the hill a little bit there. That's your sort of aiming point for the first of these 3 corners. I'm turning in here, and I'm looking at where the rumble strip meets the green, and I'm straddling that. So I might even touch a little bit of grass here, and it's fine. You won't even feel this at speed. I'm looking at that, and I'm going to turn to the right here and get all the way to this white line. But see how I'm starting to see treetops, okay? The tree that's directly in front of me, I think you can see my mouse. This tree here, that's my aiming marker. Somewhere in this region here, that's where the upper curbing is, where it comes back to the left, that I'm looking for to be able to get a good run onto Kemmel. Notice the curbing? See that? Look for that treetop and get up onto this curbing. Now, if you're to the right of the curbing, it'll be easy to fall off to the right a bit, and you'll get maybe a slowdown, maybe an off track. If you're aiming toward this tree, the middle tree, this guy here, you're definitely going to get a slowdown. So pay attention to the treetops. Okay, come through there looking at this treetop. So you're looking for a bunch of tall ones and then a gap. That's your treetop that you care about. If you get a slowdown there, there goes 5 positions. People will freight train you. Okay. See the 200 board? That's your first marker, and the 100 board is just before the rumble strip. That's my braking marker right there. Here I'm in 6th gear. I'm going really fast, but this is my spot of braking, so that curbing should be just outside of my bonnet, right, my hood, right? That's what I'm looking for. And I'm getting the wheels all the way over. I don't necessarily need to be on this rumble strip, but I need to be on the line. And what I'm looking for here is to turn in. The first thing I'm trying to spot is that green. Notice how prominent the green is there. But you can see it from a pretty good ways back. So if I come back again, and I'm coming in at a rate of speed here, right? And when I start to turn right, my aiming point is this green here. That's what I'm looking for. I want to put my right wheels right there. So I'm coming through here, right wheels up on the green, feeling the rumble strip, and then back to the left. It is my intention to compromise this corner so as to set up the next. Your temptation is going to be to go all the way out to that far rumble strip. You're only doing that if you've attacked and asserted yourself into a right position coming into this, because you're side by side at this point on the right of this car. That's the only time you need to be out there. The marbles will get out there. It'll start to get ugly. So you want to come out and not go further than about halfway. Right around here is pretty healthy, with the intention of getting back to the left. Notice the steward's hut thing outside the fence line there. That's sort of going to be off barely to my left while I get onto this curbing or near this curbing. Now, be careful getting onto that curbing. It's sort of, because the road is graded and that curbing is raised, it has a tendency to lift the contact patches of the tires. So if you get too much onto that curbing there, then now your tires are both at 50% contact patch, right? Because the car is straddling a ditch, basically. So you got to be careful there. This corner is basically a carbon copy of 2 corners ago. You see the green stripe. That's my aiming point. I'm looking for that green. So I'm coming in here, trying to hit that green, and then I'm looking for this change in color where the fence line goes from fence to yellow and red, and that's sort of what I'm orienting myself around, because I want to be getting out and on this green at exit. I want to be straddling this at exit, and then slowly getting back on it. The 200 marker, that's where the grass starts, and you want to be back in there. Again, wheels on the white line, and you're on the brakes here. the car is going to unload. You're going pretty aggressively downhill at this point. If you look at an elevation track map of this place, this is a really aggressive downhill. And because you're traveling pretty fast here, and you're on the brakes, so the car's pitched forward, and because you're slowing down, you're losing downforce, hundreds of pounds of downforce every couple feet, right? And so the rear end is going to start to feel light when you turn in. So be careful here. Don't downshift too quickly. You're going to want to come into the corner, probably in third, depends on your car, what car you're driving. And then around here, you're probably going down to second. You're probably not carrying this whole corner in third. You can try to pass around the outside here, and if you're able to hold on, you're putting yourself in a good spot up here, but it's really hard to do. Kind of like the right-left back there, how I said don't go all the way out to the curbing. Sort of the same thing here. You don't need to maximize this exit. You need to set up the next exit. Remember, always be thinking like chess. I'm thinking a couple moves ahead. So I'm coming up here, and I want to get up on this curve. This one I want, so that I can get all the way over here. You're looking for this red elevated curbing there. It's okay to get your wheels a little bit on it, but know that it drops off real suddenly, and so you might upset the rear of the car a little bit by getting on that. I try to always just get on the rumble strip, and I'm looking at this at the end of that fence line there, beyond the barriers, and want to be sort of coming off right about here. If you hear some gravel, that's fine. That's not a bad thing at all. Now, Puan, you'll need to practice it. This is a tricky corner. Kind of like at the end of the Camel Straight back there, we can see that there's curbing here, and I'm, back there we were braking right before the curbing. Here I'm braking kind of more right at, or maybe even just a hair after the curbing. It really depends on how good a run you got out of that of the Lacombe area. So, be thinking about your rate of speed, be feeling the car, and knowing I need to be all the way on this white, and I'm going to come down to fourth gear, because you've probably already gotten up to at least fifth, maybe sixth, and you want to be turning in and looking at that curbing there, and see how I can now see the exit curbing, and I can see the rumble strips. I'm sorry, the exit curbing rumble strips, and I can also see that change in color from white wall to colored wall. That's sort of my indications, and I want to be exiting. I want to be touching this curbing where it's flat. So if you look at an overhead track map of this, it's sort of a two apex corner. It's really one. It's like Indianapolis in a way, right? Where it's turns 1 and 2 are literally turns 1 and 2. This is a bit like that, but very short. Where I'm coming in here and I'm thinking, I want to be looking at that fence line, and I want to be out here, not because this is the way to maximize this exit. It's because it's the way to maximize that exit, the next exit coming down into campus. So you're coming through here, and you're looking at making sure that your left wheels are not on, but are just sort of all over this line, right? You don't want it to be on the curbing. And you're looking at the exit here to make sure that you've got your wheels there. So we'll do another one of those at pace. It's kind of hard to describe. You have to feel it. You have to work on that corner. It takes a lot of work. Just like Camel Straight, my braking marker is not the curbing. It's before the curbing. In reality, it's kind of the sign. I don't know that I predictably do this 100% the same every time, but when that total energies sign, it disappears over my windshield banner. And again, this depends on the car's visibility, the car's dimensions, but I'm braking about here. So feel that out for your different car, and you might do it a little bit differently. Here, repeat, right? Aim for the green, get up on the green, compromise. Don't go all the way to the left, because you need to aim for this green. You're getting onto that green, and then all the way out to there. And then as fast as you can, back over to the left. Really, Campus and Lacombe are a lot alike. Their radiuses are a bit different, but their technique is about the same. You're just taking them at different speeds. Here, I'm looking for that green patch. Thank you, Spa, for putting green targets everywhere. Because what I'm trying to do is get my right wheels onto that, use that rumble strip all the way around, so that I can be out here. I'm accelerating here aggressively. This is another long run, so I want to be in fourth gear right about here, and working my way up to fifth right about here, with the intention of getting up here, right? That's one of those corners where if 2 corners ago you did your job, you're getting a good run off of here, or you're losing positions here, one of the two. Here, I typically stay all the way right, and then I'll come all the way left. There's a minor little rumble area here. I'll come all the way left, and then I'm setting up this corner. I'm sort of straddling this white line. There's some grace out there, no off tracks. And as soon as I can see this bit of rumble strip, I'm turned in. I'm coming over, and looking for the end of that wall. You see off in the distance here, I can see the paddock and all that, and then the end of the wall. That's sort of what I'm looking for. I don't want to exit here. That'll give me an off track or a slowdown. I'm looking here. And I don't want to be arcing too tightly, because with on mid-engine cars especially, this is an area where a lot of cars will spin. If you're in the Audi, the old McLaren was notorious around this corner. The Ferrari can struggle around this corner. There's something about these really high-speed corners where if you're too fast on a high-speed corner, it'll spin on you. It'll just lose the rear end. So be thinking about that. Okay, so I'm using all that rumble strip, looking for this crowd strike sign as my first indication that right after it is this white line in the road. Now the white line, as you're getting started, is probably your braking marker, because this chicane combination is really, really hard, and kind of like Puan, but sort of the opposite. It's something you'll just have to practice and feel out, because you'll be tempted to brake really hard going into this, and I'm going to show you why you shouldn't. When you come into here, if you've broken too hard, you're going to miss the corner and end up here somewhere. And see how they've blocked off re-entry. And so now you've got to turn back opposite traffic and try to merge in. But guess what? Everyone's on this bit of rumble strip right here. So you don't want to do that. So I'm going to go back again, and we'll talk about what you do want to do. Okay. So you see the white line. Right past the white line. And I mean, it's like heartbeats, right? Pass, brake. It's not brake at the time of the white line. It's brake just after the white line. So kind of like we were talking about in the Kemmel Straight, brake right before the curb. Here you're braking right after the line. There's very few visual indicators here that really correlate to a GT3 braking distance into this corner. You'll be able to see the 100 sign, not the 200 sign at this point. So for me, it's the white line in the ground. Keep in mind, if you're in tight traffic, that line is obscured, so you're basing some of the work you're doing off the other cars. But my braking marker is just after the white line, and then I'm just down through the gears, down through the gears, down through the gears. My goal here, I want to be all the way over here, maybe touching the rumble strip. You don't have to be, but what I'm looking for is to get right here. I want to be right here. So what I'm looking for is where this wall ends. That's where I want my nose pointing to set up for the next corner. So I want to be here, straightening out my wheel and turning back in and getting my left wheels either on the red taller curbing or not. And then again, pointing straight out using all this rumble strip. So the tires are going to be cooled down now, so this is going to be ugly, but let's do one more at speed and think about those braking markers.
Okay, Ben, you've got about 4 laps of fuel left.
Compression. Get tight, get tight. Back onto the throttle. Use the curbing. Come down here, get really close to the wall. Abuse the bottom cornering here. Look for our favorite tree at the top. Tires are so cold. Use that exit curbing and defend to the right there. And now hopefully you're not having to defend coming down here. I'm looking for the curbing and then the green. Tires are so cold. Tires are so
Sector
cold.
1 is
Compromise this corner.
0.48, slower than your best.
And then green, exit green, brake at the 100. Oh, I actually broke kind of early there. That was a bit too early. All the way over, looking for this green, or curbing. Green on exit. Keep it all the way to the right. A little bit after the curbing there. Filling that out to the straight part of that curbing, to the straight part of this curbing. All the way to the left. sign disappears. All the way over to the green. All the way over to the green. All the way out to the green. Woohoo, too much.
Track limits, keep it within the lines.
Tires are so cold. They're so confused by the heat cycles. Let's slow down lap. I breathe the throttle there. Back on it hard. Use all the curbing on exit. Careful, it'll get loose there. There's undulation if you abuse that curbing too much. All the way over. All the way out. All the way in. You might have to breathe the throttle. Use the curbing. I didn't have to breathe it there. I could have gone that flat. Right after the white line. And you have now done a lap around Cirque du Spa de Francorchamps. Well done, American.
3 laps of fuel remaining.
And or Australian. We'll take a quick look at whatever the fastest lap is from the outside and talk about anything we might spot there. Let's see. And again, we are not talking about fast lap times here. In real race conditions, you know, when you're trying to really go fast around here, you're probably doing 19s. But it's all very weather dependent, and you know, we haven't thought about any of that stuff. So let's go back here and look at the start and talk about tire placement. See how I do. Okay, I'm a little bit left. Notice how my tires are not on the white line. My tires should have been on that white line. There's a tenth or so hiding in that. I want to be on the white line. And here too, this isn't bad, right? You'll feel this out, but there's a bit of variation as to how you might take this. A lot of times I am all the way over here in the green. There's no off track here, I don't think, but there's a wall. But there's no off track over here, I don't think. So, you know, feel free to get closer to the wall than that. If you've ever driven Bathurst, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, this is pretty good. Up on the red curbing, but not over the red curbing. The car feels great like this. You're under a lot of acceleration load, so it's happy. Let's pay attention to where I'm pointing here. The brake lights come on. All the way over, all the way over. Look at the trees. Notice how I'm still turning to the right at this point. Notice my wheel, still turning to the right at this point. Let's go into slow-mo. Where does my wheel straighten? Look at that. Look at that tree. That's where my wheels are straightening. Look at the curbing about to come around. See how I'm kind of perfectly set up for that exit curbing. So all the way on it. Use the right side curbing if you need to. If you're defending, get all the way over to the right and make him go left. Let's see if I get onto the white line here. I need to be. Yeah, better, better, better. Go for the green, on the green. On the curbing, not over the curbing. Compromise a little bit. Get back to the green. Missed it a bit. Again, this isn't a hot lap. Notice that. Boom. Boom. Careful on the downshifts. Careful on the downshifts. The car really wants to unload here. Down. Down. Use the transmission to slow the car down, not the brakes. The brakes are there for pointing the car. Using all the track, baby. See that? On the white line. Just about every corner on this track, that's what you want to be doing. On the white line. Abusing the white line. Not necessarily using the rumble strip, because they're all canted. They're all at a slope. Confident back to the throttle. Got to practice Poulon. Poulon's a tricky set of corners. Aim for the green. There you go. A little wide. Yeah, that's not great. I messed up. So let's go back and look at that. Why did I mess it up? I kind of came off mid-green. I want to be riding this curb around quite a bit more, because you notice how when I come off the curbing too early, look where the car's put, like sort of at center point, where the grading of the road is now going to start to upset the car's balance a little bit. So I don't want to be out here at center point. Right here, I want to be a whole car width to the right of where I'm at right now. So that's an example of what not to do, because here I've just increased tightness of this corner by like twofold. If I were out here, I would have a much healthier turn in. So it's called a compromise corner because I need to be on that green. And imagine how much my exit is being hurt because I'm 6 feet too far to the right. Braking before that curbing, looking for the green. Sort of missed it again. That's good though. It's a good exit. That's a good run out. Happy with that. Listen to the engine going through here. Pay attention to the throttle. See how the throttle came off? Down to like 70, 80%. And then white line brake. Aim for the change in color. Turn back to the left. And we're going through again. Ladies and gents, I hope that's helpful. Enjoy Spa.